I'm not sure if you drink whiskey at 10 a.m. on a Monday morning.
Not 10 a.m. Monday morning, but
not traditionally.
Maybe after Sunday
Okay.
After a great week, maybe.
Fantastic. Some beautiful stuff there. I'll open it just in case I get thirsty.
All right.
You never know. Never know how we go on this podcast, mate. We could get carried away.
Yeah. Maybe you see some tip on Instagram. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, Instagram, YouTube. Like,
wait. So you're telling me a professional golfer, PGA Tour and DP World Tour winner, you use hacks on Instagram
all the time? I can go through so many. If you looked at like pro golfers, especially the ones that are struggling,
your little algorithm
on Instagram, you see like golf swings, like random golf coaches. And you're at the end of the day, I see the best golfers, and they're generally just the better ball strikers. The way the ball comes off the face, the sound that it makes. Now he can have omelets whenever he wants, and thanks to me.
Yeah. Well, clever cookie.
Yeah.
Michael Kim, great to have you here on the Life on Tour podcast, courtesy of Buffalo Trace, and it's very early in the morning, but it still smells delightful. You just mentioned you've come from Korea. I thought we might as well touch on that because it's such an amazing country. How nice is it to be back home for a little bit?
It's fantastic. I love Korean food.
Oh, yeah, it's good, isn't it?
I don't have too many friends in Korea just because I grew up mostly in the States, but had plenty of great food, and weather was pretty good for the most part. So just really enjoyed my time.
Is that Korean barbecue every night, or is it?
There's a bit more to it than Korean barbecue, but I've definitely had my fair share.
Yeah.
I had a lot of seafood, barbecue,
nice.
You name it. I feel like I had it all.
And you travel a lot, but you probably don't get to go home to Korea that much, right?
Yeah. Maybe once a year, once every 2 years is probably all I can make. So it was really nice to go back home for the first time in a while.
Am I right? You left Korea when you were 7?
Yeah.
And so, like, do you have many memories of before you were 7, before you left still?
Not a ton.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm not sure if I'm just making it up kind of in my head as I go along. Not a ton of memories. Most of my memories start from when I was in the States. Yeah.
Yeah. And you speak Korean still?
Yeah. I went through phases of where I lost a lot of it, but starting in college, I made some actually like more Korean friends and some Korean pros after I turned pro. So that helped, and now I take pride in my Korean and how fluent I am.
Well, I heard you were taking quite a controversial Korean class at university as well.
I feel like I took some easier courses to fit the schedule more than anything. Yeah. But I took a lot of courses at Cal. Yeah. But a lot of the Korean stuff I actually still use to this day. So it's some of the most useful stuff.
Yeah, wow.
Other than some of like the literature or physics classes I took. Korean still, I'm still happy that I took it.
It's a great life hack.
Yeah. One of the
Korean 101.
Korean 101. One of the benefits of speaking another language for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy. How was that journey? Like, I guess, moving to America, changing all your lifestyle up, I know, as a youngster, but then growing up and then getting into golf. Can you sort of briefly give us a little rundown of that chapter of your life?
Yeah. I don't remember this actually, but I remember my mom would tell me that I would go to elementary school and I would tell the teacher that I had a stomach ache, I was sick, and I was just trying to get out of class because I was nice. I didn't have any friends, I didn't speak any English, so I was trying to get out of it. But then a kid named Kevin, who's also Korean and spoke a little bit of Korean, he was born in America, but the teacher kind of had him help me, and after that, I guess I had a much better time in school. But like I don't remember too much of it. I don't remember like trying to learn English, and all that. It, as a kid, it happens a bit more naturally. So apparently I had a difficult couple years, but I only have really good memories for the most part.
Oh, that's good. It only makes you stronger.
That's right. Yeah.
And we sit here now in Abu Dhabi, nearing the end of the DP World Tour season. How crazy is it to look back on how you've got here in terms of getting into the game? Like, what got you into the game to get to where we are today?
My dad just thought he had never played golf. No one in our family had played golf.
So that's quite rare in the golfing world, isn't it?
Yeah. My dad thought it was just like a cool activity that all four of us, my brother, my mom, and my dad, just to try. Heard it was a cool hobby in America. And so we all tried. And for the most part, I'm the only one left standing. No one else really plays anymore golf anymore. But I make it up for everyone.
Yeah, I think you're pulling the family along nicely.
Yeah. So we all just tried. For whatever reason, my parents thought it was a good idea to sign me up for a golf tournament. Like 3 months in, I had no idea what I was doing when I was 8 years old, and I finished like dead last. And I thought all these kids were like all like professional golfers. They were so good. So took me a bit. I was a bit of a late bloomer, but all of a sudden I'm here.
She's really dented your confidence there, right?
Yeah.
Let's throw you straight in. And
oh man, I mean, these kids were so good. We were playing par 3 courses, 9-hole par 3 courses, and I was like, par 36 or par 27, and I'm shooting like 40 something, and these kids are like shooting like even par, and I'm blown away.
Good.
Yeah. That's
crazy. Good though. And then I guess if we fast forward a little bit as well, you sort of started making a really good run in the amateur game. What was your love for the amateur game, and how cool was that going to college and keep building on that career? Because at that point you were on fire, right?
Yeah. Going to Cal was a huge positive, huge benefit for my game. Yeah, sure. Cal wasn't exactly like a powerhouse for golf at that time. Even now they've struggled a little bit, but I went to Cal with a bunch of guys that, to be honest, were rejected from like Stanford, from UCLA, from USC, some of the schools that, some of the real powerhouse schools in California. And we all had a chip on our shoulders, and we all wanted to prove that, we were the better juniors. And so we all worked really hard. Max Homa, Brandon Hagee, Joel Stalter, who won on the DP tour, Michael Weaver. We ended up having a really awesome team.
Yeah, it's a good little list there.
Yeah, we had an awesome team. We were ranked number 1 in the country as a team my sophomore year, and just got on a really nice run. I played my way into the U.S. Open in 2013 at Marion.
Yeah. Wow, I feel like we're getting old when you're saying that. It's not good.
Yeah. It's crazy. That's like,
and you made the cut.
I played really well. I on Saturday, after the 15th hole, Luke Donald was leading, and I was like 2 or 3 shots back heading into like the last 3 or 4 holes on Saturday.
Wow, that's cool.
I played with Ricky Fowler on Sunday. So just awesome memories from that week. And that was really like the first time where I felt like I have a real chance to do this as a professional.
So how old were you then? 2013?
I was 19. Yeah. About to turn 20. Yeah.
Straight into one of the biggest majors for you guys. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's when was Ricky in his full peak, colours galore.
He had the full orange going. Yeah. I remember a few things. I remember Saturday afternoon, if I had parred out, which is a tall task
at a US Open.
At a US Open, those are like the 3 or 4 hardest holes in the golf in the world, honestly. Yeah. If I had parred out, I would have been in the final group with Phil on Sunday, which would have been crazy. But that's kind of what ifs. But just awesome memories from that week.
I can't even imagine, like when we go to majors as fans, it's like, wow, this is amazing. But what's it like as a young amateur to rock up and go
it's
with the big boys?
It's you're just kind of starstruck. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm actually here. I can only imagine if it's like Augusta for the Masters, it'd be even crazier. But I just remember I played a practice round with KJ Choi,
Nice.
Sangmun Bay, and I was so nervous. I like chunked the first one, snap hooked the second one, and they're like, "You want to hit another one?" In the practice round, I was like, "No, let's just
get the hell out of here.
Let's just get off the tee." So I remember being super nervous for that.
Yeah.
And just, Tiger was still playing really well. Phil obviously was playing well. Just, hitting golf balls next to those guys, even on the range, is like such a surreal feeling. Once the tournament starts, you get into kind of the tournament mode, and it's not as bad.
You almost have to get there early to get rid of the sort of wow factor.
Oh man,
just to get acclimatized a little bit.
Yeah, it's. I mean, these are guys that like I grew up watching. Phil being from San Diego and watching Tiger all those years. Yeah. It's pretty cool to feel like a peer instead of like your hero for that week.
Because you're not far from Torrey Pines, right?
Yeah, I grew up at Torrey Pines, or playing the Torrey Pines golf course. Went to Torrey Pines High School.
Yeah, awesome.
Watched Tiger win all those Farmers Insurance Buick tournaments all those years.
There as a fan, just loving it.
Oh, it's crazy. Every time I get to go back and play the Farmers Insurance Open, it's like I'm back to like 10-year-old Michael Kim and just
amazing.
Like, you're like, you dream about playing this tournament for all your kind of junior and amateur days, and to actually be doing that is such an awesome feeling.
Because like you think about like myself, I've just watched those on highlights after highlights of Torrey Pines, but never been there. But for you to actually go back and play, that must be cool. And friends and family obviously there as well. Yeah, it'd be a hell of a week.
Yeah, it's always there are certain tournaments. I feel like everyone grows up and they want to win, and it's usually like the Masters or the Open Championship. For me, like the Farmers Insurance Open is like. Is right up on that list for me.
Right up on the list. Yeah. And then I guess we kind of got carried away with major championships, which was pretty awesome. But we can't fault your college record as well. You had 4 wins in a season, which I think is a record.
At Cal.
It was at the time.
Yeah.
Which that's how awesome was that, and how inspiring was that for your career?
Yeah. I remember there's a guy named I forget his last name. It's Ryan for Golf Digest. Sorry, Ryan. I'm about to put you on blast a little bit, but I remember
he's got a mention though.
Yeah. There's this preseason list of like the top guys to watch out for, and I felt like I had a decent freshman year, but I wasn't on that list. And I remember I was like, it's like how could you not put me on that list?
We're gonna find you, Ryan.
Yeah,
we're gonna come after you.
And I remember that being like a really big motivator. We lost to Alabama that had like Justin Thomas in my freshman year, and we felt like we were so close. And we had the entire team coming back. We were a young team my freshman year, and just a ton of motivation. We got off to a kind of a blistering start. We basically won everything in the fall. I won my first individual title at Isleworth that last term in the fall, and just kind of went off and running from there.
Nice. You mentioned Maxi Homer. What was it like sharing a room with that bloke? It'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, we had a blast. He was my roommate at all the tournaments.
Oh, brilliant!
Freshman and sophomore year. Obviously, we were still close. Max is an awesome friend. He's also, even to this day, one of the, maybe if not the hardest worker that I've met. Would bang golf balls for hours. We'd have lots of competitions with ourselves, and just an awesome friend to have. And I felt like we really pushed each other to become our best that year.
Yeah, no, Max is good fun, and obviously he's known for roasting a few people. I was wondering if this is a good chance to maybe roast him on his worst habits as a roommate.
Worst habits.
You get to share a room. He's obviously got some,
he doesn't do anything
abnormal.
Too abnormal. I do. I remember. So we were playing the the Jones Cup. It's kind of this big amateur event in St. Simons, Georgia. And we were rooming together that week at a host family. And one of the practice days mornings, there was an omelet bar. And he goes, and I was like, hey, Max, you wanna grab an omelet? And he's really lactose intolerant.
Right.
And I've known this at that time for a while. He goes, I can't have omelets. And I was like, why can't you have omelets? He goes, they have cheese in it. I can't eat cheese. He's like, you know that. He goes, you can ask for one without cheese. And he goes, you can do that? I was like, yeah, just ask for everything you want, just no cheese. He goes, he's like super hesitant. He goes, okay, I'll try.
Never thought of it.
Yeah, he goes, can I get some ham and onions and mushrooms, but no cheese? And the guy goes, yeah, sure. So
horrible. He's been missing out.
He had been missing out. And I was like, how's the omelet? He's like, amazing.
Game changer.
So just now he can have omelets whenever he wants, and thanks to me.
Yeah. Well, clever cookie.
Yeah.
No, that's great. And then I guess from uni, turned pro in 2013.
At the end of 2013, but as the start of 2014.
Start of the season. What was that transition like? Because for a lot of amateurs, I guess we see on the tally at the moment, the amateurs just go bang straight into it. But like that hasn't always been the case. What was that transition like for you? Yeah,
it was tricky, but because I knew I wasn't playing my best at all. I had an awesome 2013 year, but starting towards the end of that year, my swing I was really struggling with my swing at that point, and but I still felt like I had to turn pro because I made it through Q school, and it's like this opportunity that I shouldn't pass up.
Because that's always a funny one, isn't it? Like, there's no real right or wrong time to turn pro, but like you want to turn pro when you're firing,
right?
So
right.
That must be tricky.
Yeah, and I had a good Walker Cup session. But like even at Q school, I really struggled the last couple of days. That was back when it was still 6 rounds.
Right.
I played well in the first 4, but I knew I was just kind of barely piecing it together at that point. So it's just like going into tournaments feeling like you don't have a chance is a really tough feeling. And I remember I just struggled for the first half of the year, just trying to get my game back together. Yeah. I had conditional, at that time, web.com, now Corn Ferry Tour status. So that first year, it's mostly just me just trying to keep that status and trying to get status for next year, which luckily I was able to do, but wasn't like the easiest of start. Yeah, it wasn't the easiest of starts for sure.
Especially when you go from like dominating college golf.
Yeah,
you're feeling pretty good.
It's definitely frustrating. Golf is always frustrating.
Oh, it's a horrible sport.
But knowing that, like, I know what I'm capable of. I've played well at the U.S. Open, but feeling way short of those kind of expectations of those moments where you feel like I can get to those heights, but just being so short of it was a really tough feeling.
Golf, we were talking about it last night over a little Buffalo Trace. What, to completely go off tangent, like the frustrating part we just mentioned and how tough golf can be, like what is one of the most frustrating parts of golf for you?
Oh, man.
Like you think about people that absolutely battle away, shoot 100 every other round. It's like, why do we keep coming back to this ridiculous game?
I've had my share of bad golf, and at the end of your round, you hit that like one shot, and you're just like, oh, that was it. Like, and then you're right back into I could have hit 50 awful golf shots, but then you're like at towards the end where you've almost given up. You hit that one really good one. You're like, oh, maybe that was it, and like that might be the start of a really good round the next day, and it just kind of draws you back in. Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. Well, like I guess like, so you got on tour, but then it took you a while to break through, and then what was that emotion, that pure joy of 2018 winning that John Deere Classic? Like, to go through the grind, what we've just talked about, and everything to actually become a PGA Tour winner. Like, can you describe that for us?
Yeah. I wish I was able to enjoy that week a bit more, but the John Deere is kind of in July. It's later in the year. I remember just going to that week. I'd been missing a few cuts in a row and just trying to really just keep my job. That was like the number one goal. I was maybe like 150th and 125 keeps your car, and just trying to keep my job for next year. I remember like being super tired, but only being able to sleep like 3 or 4 hours max on Friday and Saturday nights, just because I'd wake up and my heart would be like beating just from the stress of trying to win and trying to keep my card. And I had a 5-shot lead heading into Sunday, which is great. You feel like you have that cushion.
It's a long sleep.
But it's long sleep, and you're like, okay, like you're the one that's supposed to win. Like, you're the one that, if you loses, it's just a total like choke job.
Yeah.
And that kind of,
there's no way it's not.
It's just, and just,
well, you shot 27 under that week, right?
I ended up managing it well, and all that.
Incredible.
But I just remember, I feel a lot of things I remember, but I didn't feel like I ended up winning by 8, but even until I hit the fairway on 18, and at that point you're like, okay, like there's no way I can screw this up. And that's when I was like, tried to take it all in, and I still kind of remember the walk towards the green, and all that. But it was just, it wasn't as much. It was joy and a lot of awesome feelings, but it was also like a massive monkey off my back. Just like, I've actually done it. I have status for the next few years now, and not knowing what was going to come up after that 2018 season, but at that point it was a massive relief.
You did briefly mention what happened after the John Deere. I guess now's a better time than ever to talk about it. From that victory, it was a really tough few years, wasn't it? I think at one stage you missed 19 out of 20 cuts or something, and it was just to go from winning on the PGA Tour, like, what is that roller coaster ride like, going almost back down to earth? Yeah,
not to earth, but like whatever, like deeper into whatever I got down there to the earth's core. Even it was, and to be honest, like it's 19 out of 20, but the one that I technically made was like the Century Tournament of Champions, where there's like 30, there's like a 30-man field. So, and I basically finished dead last in that one. So, I mean, I guess it's technically a made cut, but I played that terrible in that one too.
Okay, so no cuts.
Basically no cuts. I mean, it was, the heart was in the right place, where even after I won, I won. I had a pretty good week after at the Open Championship. But after that, I, kind of went back to where I was before. So I really caught lightning in a bottle, and I knew I needed to make some kind of changes if I wanted to. Yeah. Hopefully, win more tournaments and contend and really kind of hit the next step. And so I tried to make all these swing changes and all that, and they failed spectacularly, basically. And I really struggled until from 2019 to 2021 to 2022 even, where I just, I was throwing stuff against the wall. None of them were sticking. I changed coaches. I changed equipment. I changed caddies. I changed everything that I could really think of. Luckily from the win, I had some status, which was kind of let me at least play and works on some things. And really, I was on my last leg, where if you compete for on the PGA Tour for 5 years, they guarantee you 1 year on the Korn Ferry Tour. Right. And so I had used up all my PGA Tour status after COVID, and kind of had that last Corn Ferry Tour status. I remember thinking like, if this year doesn't work out, then I have nothing to stand on. I have to go back to Q school.
Oh my God.
And that's when you think like, man, like, do I really want to go through like Q school, or if not Q school, mini tour, doing it again? Like, you know, do I even play golf at that point? Like, how long am I going to even like try this? You know, if you don't make cuts, like you're not making any money. So I've been,
you're losing.
I'm losing money for those 3 or 4 year stretch. And you know,
one win can only float you for so long.
That's true. And that's right. And it wasn't really until I saw Sean Foley, and he kind of helped me put all those pieces back together and kind of get my game back.
What's that like mentally? Because I can't imagine it's overly healthy.
You know, luckily, I was, you know, after all those bad weeks, you know, you're like super sad. You're like disappointed. The thing about tour golf is you miss a cut, but then it's like a whole new week the next week, right? So it's like this wave of like, like I missed a cut, but okay, like these things don't work. Let's try on these other few things. And so you kind of go back on the roller coaster up, where you're just like, all right, you know, maybe, you know, it's feeling okay on Tuesday.
Yeah. How long does that hangover last? Because I guess you might get to the next event a bit earlier, and then all of a sudden you
know, it's I feel like I'm generally a positive person. So you know, you're like, okay, you know, I tried this thing on my swing, that didn't work, so I throw that, you know, put that into the trash. But you know, you have this, you know, maybe you see some tip on Instagram, like I'm not even kidding, like Instagram, YouTube, like.
Wait. So you're telling me a professional golfer, PGA Tour and DP World Tour winner, you use hacks on Instagram like
all the time? I can go through so many. If you looked at like pro golfers, especially the ones that are struggling,
your little algorithm
on Instagram, you see like golf swings, like random golf coaches, and all that. But also, what I got in trouble with was I got like caught like looking at other players' golf swings and like trying to like, he does this so well. And it's so weird because you look at your own golf swing and you see like, I hate this about that. I don't like this about this.
Hard to see the good.
And then you look at Rory McIlroy's golf swing and you're like, I love how you only see the best parts of his swing, when it should be the opposite. You should feel like, you know, I love this part about my golf swing, and this is why my golf swing works. But you just end up seeing all the bad parts of yours and only the good parts of others. And so I'd be trying like, you know, you know, Victor, his club position at the top is kind of like here, and he drives it awesome. Like maybe I should try that. And so you go through all these waves, and so, you know, you miss the cut, and then you try something new. And the problem with us, I can make almost any swing thought work on a Tuesday on the range.
Yeah.
Like I can figure it out how to work.
Most of us can.
Yeah, but once the tournaments start, that's when like it all kind of crumbles down. And so, you know, like you work on a couple things on the weekend, kind of figure it out Monday, Tuesday, and you're like, okay, like, you know, I think I'm getting the hang of it. And then it's just like another crash on Thursday, Friday of like, no, throw that one into the trash. And so it's kind of this big wave of emotion.
And it's relentless. It's ruthless.
Like every week. And luckily, you know, I was never the type to take it so serious to where I was like, you know, depressed or you know, or nothing too crazy like that.
Yeah.
I had a really good support system. My friends and family were great during that time. You know, I still remember one of my best friends to this day, Michael Keelan. You know, we're playing a round of golf, no, we weren't even playing a round of golf. We were playing a video game, Call of Duty together, and I still remember I still remember him like, hey man, like I know you're struggling, but I still feel like you're good enough, and we all believe in you. I was like, wow, like that. You know, I still remember it. You know, it meant a lot, and I give them a ton of credit for kind of keeping me, you know, float during those bad years. Yeah.
Epic. I guess with you being a winner on tour, a winner on both tours, and then going through those struggles, can you maybe try and tell us what is the difference between a good golfer and a really good golfer? Because at the top, everyone's good, but what is the difference?
Yeah, it's the difference between Rory McIlroy and Michael Kim is really like, if just from a strokes gained like stats perspective, it's like point 0.5, 0.5 strokes gained. Like it's not a
That's
lot.
not much.
That's not a lot, but like at our level, just trying to gain like those like 0.05. I mean, we're working our butts off just to gain those tiny little edges, and in the grand scheme of things, there's not a big difference, but like in actuality, it's a much bigger difference. And hopefully I get to where he's at, or near where you're closer to where he's at, starting now and into the future. At the end of the day, I see the best golfers, and they're generally just the better ball strikers. The way the club or the ball comes off the face, the sound that it makes, and it's just that little bit of quality. Even between kind of the regular PGA Tour and DP Tour guys, it's just a little different.
Yeah, because you played with Brooks.
Yeah.
In France, and you mentioned something very similar to that, right? Like, he's obviously not in the best of form, but you can still tell that. For sure.
The quality of the strike, where it's just perfectly flush, instead of like, even pros, we miss it here and there, right? And just the quality of the strike, and he wasn't playing his absolute best, obviously, because his best is major champion stuff, right? But just that little bit of, it's just that little kind of different sound that it makes. Watching a guy like Rory or Victor just hitting, like, just bombing their drivers,
that is good to
180, 190 ball speed, just right down the pipe and swinging so free, like, and you're just like, wow, like, I'm a professional golfer, but like, I would love to feel how they feel over the ball when they're hitting a driver. And I have my own strengths as well. Like, I feel like I'm a good iron player and all that. But you always want something that is a little out of reach for you, right? And definitely when I see guys like those guys hit drivers, just like, oh man, like I wish I could hit the ball with the driver like they did.
Yeah, if you haven't been to a range session with Rory, it's pretty special, isn't it? Just
it's pretty special. It's the ball comes off really high. It's really straight. That's just
so high.
The ball just doesn't. You feel like, okay, it's kind of where it should start coming down. And then there has an extra little bit where it's like, oh, it's not coming down. Oh, it's still in the air, and then it comes down. Yeah.
Well, we've mentioned all your highs and your lows, but for us as a DP World Tour audience, like, you winning in France is obviously a stunning moment in your career. 7 years between wins. Another chance for you to feel like a new winner again. Like, how cool was that?
Yeah. It was, I guess my wins come off really bad performances the week before, because
so you just got to play like mud, and then
I have to play bad the week before, and then that really primes me up for the week after. But I remember I had a good end of the year in the FedEx playoffs, so I'm feeling good about myself, and I go to Wentworth and feeling like, oh yeah, I want to, it's, of course, I feel like fits my game, and just played pretty poor Thursday, Friday, and you're just like, oh, man, like this stupid game, and then just tried to figure things out on the weekend, after I missed the cut there, and then for whatever reason it kind of clicked on Tuesday, where I was like, oh, okay, like I think this is the direction I want to go with my swing, with some of the stuff that I was working on, and and I was putting it really well.
Yeah.
And I felt like my game kind of kept getting better and better as the week went on, kind of culminating to an awesome finish. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, it was a good finish. That birdie on 17 was probably, well, the highlight a lot of people will say was bidding a huge putt on 18, which rightfully so. But the birdie on 17 really stood out, didn't it?
Yeah. If I look back on that tournament, there's a few like moments that stand out, and the putt on 18 obviously stands out, but the birdies that I made on 16, the tee shot I hit on 16 to kind of give myself a birdie look. But then I remember after I made the birdie on 16, I had a good idea where I stood. There was a big leaderboard on 16 green, and I knew Ko had, I don't remember exact score, but we were tied, and I remember like we're waiting for the group to clear on 17 green, and thinking we were tied at that point. I was like, hey, if I make birdie here, it's like a massive step towards the win. And it was like a perfect pitching wedge number, just a little sawed off pitching wedge, and executing that shot to like really where I wanted it, how I wanted to hit it, and then making that kind of that 7-footer up the hill, kind of right dead in the heart. Those are some of like the moments that really stick out. And then on 18T, you just kind of like steer it left, anything away from the water, giving myself a chance. I knew that bunker shot left is the miss, so I ended up kind of missing it there. Just trying to give myself a decent chance, and was able to obviously roll that putt in on 18. Yeah.
What's it like finishing with a par 3? Because a lot of tournaments, you got a one-shot lead, you find the heart of the fairway, heart of the green, but like par 3 just felt a little different, didn't it? You enjoy it?
I actually loved it because
I guess it gets rid of a chance to stuff up, right?
To me, it's one less shot I have to worry about.
Yeah.
And even that Sunday, I wasn't driving it perfect, and so after I got it in the fairway on 17, I was hitting my irons really well. And so I was like, I don't have to worry about another tee shot. I'm good. And, my misses with my irons had been a little left, if anything. So, that was a pretty comfortable
good putt
18th hole for me.
Yeah.
Heading into that week. Yeah.
And then that bunker shot, how did you hit that? Because obviously it came up quite short, but wasn't all like, I guess a lot of green to work with it. You almost would have expected it to roll out a bit more, right?
Yeah, I think in the couple in like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I forget which days, but there were similar pins all the way in the back, and the putts would run out a lot more. It kind of goes back down towards the end, and I just remember thinking like it's really fast. I have a bunker shot, and it's one of those where like I feel like I can just kind of chunk and run it up there, and it's just going to roll out nice, and it's going to go. But then also like I don't want to hit it too hard either. There's water behind the green. I can I'm staring like right at it, right? And so I was like, yeah, just kind of chunk and run it up there, and it should roll out pretty good. And I hit it pretty close to where I was kind of looking, and it just I think it needed just another few feet to where it really started going down. And so I remember being a little disappointed with the bunker shot, but I'm thinking like, like I still have a putt. If I miss, it's not like a 6-footer to where you feel like you really need to make it. It's like, it's long enough to where like, if I miss it, if I have to go into a playoff, so be it. But
what is the balance on those putts? Because you've got a putt to win a championship, but if it's 15, 20 feet, you're kind of like, I don't want to get too aggressive on this. Like,
for sure.
How do you balance the mind and I guess the expectations on those putts?
Yeah, like I said, I knew it was going to be fast. And for me, if it's a putt that I really want to make, sometimes having it downhill isn't like such a bad thing, because I feel like sometimes I struggle getting putts to the hole on really uphill putts. And so, sometimes if it's downhill, I just play enough break, and I just kind of let it get there, and that was kind of the thought process in my head.
Nice to have a victory on both tours now, isn't it?
Yeah. Anytime you can pick up a win on the DP Tour or the PGA Tour, I think it's a massive confidence boost. It's another sign that I'm in the right direction. I'm working on the right things, and
it's awesome.
And it's also like a cool part of it is after you win the week after or whenever you play next, a lot of the players, say, hey, like, congratulations, nice win, and that's always a really cool feeling. Getting those messages from your peers.
I think a lot of people have enjoyed, like, I guess, seeing your updates as well throughout your career, and obviously through your Twitter/X social media feed. How much have you enjoyed that? Because it's kind of become a little thing of yours, hasn't it? Well, quite a big thing now.
Yeah. I think it started when I was on the Corn Ferry Tour, or just as I was kind of getting back from the Corn Ferry Tour after my struggles. And I remember just one day I was pretty bored. I erased Instagram because I thought, I was just spending way too much time on it.
Yeah, I was trying to stalk you. Yeah. It's quite hard.
Yeah. No, so I got rid of that. And I remember thinking, my good friend, going back to Max, like, he had built an awesome big fan base and bigger profile through his roasting and all the other stuff. And so I was like, all right, for 1 year, I'm just going to post something almost every single day. And, everything, has its good and bad parts. And through my struggles, I felt like I learned a lot about my game. I'd seen a lot of different coaches, and I was totally open to sharing those good and bad parts. And also, my first real coach, one of my first real coaches, James O, who had played professionally himself, kind of gave me a tip saying, you should write somewhere in your phone or something of like funny stories you pick up along the way.
Yeah.
And so I had this Rolodex of stories and also some, golf lessons I felt like I could share. And so those are the things that I felt like I could share. And, it's been four years now, I think, that I've done it pretty consistently. And, it's been, everyone's liked it more than I could have really thought.
Yeah, it's cool,
and I've been enjoying it a lot, and some people have enjoyed it too. So I'll be continuing to do it.
It's like you're doing food reviews, but for golf.
Yeah, exactly. I do my food reviews of player dining too. Sometimes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Anything, people, a lot of the basic stuff, fans are so smart these days that they want to know the nitty gritty details. And so whether it's, food reviews or my thoughts on a golf course or my thoughts on Abu Dhabi. So all those, sometimes I don't share the things that might get me in trouble or others in trouble. But anything that I feel I can share, I try to do so.
You mentioned you wrote down stories, or you've written down stories throughout this little journey. Have you got one go-to story where, let's say you're at a bar and everyone's like, mate, tell us a story? Is there one story of your career where it's just this was funny, or I've had a shocker here, an embarrassing moment,
moment.
One of those ones that you're like, yeah.
Okay. I have a decent
when you go on Graham Norton, you're like, this is my one.
I have a decent one. So I'm playing. So on the PGA Tour, if you're not in the Pro-Am, there's things called sponsor values.
Right.
It's like you go visit a tent or you do. It's you do a clinic. And so at the Travelers Championship one year, I was a sponsored value, and so you're doing a clinic for first tee kids, members of the golf course, something along those lines.
Something to give back.
So sure, I show up Wednesday, and I'm doing a clinic for these kids, but also there's 3 stations and one station was a clinic to the kids, and they had an MC. And so I show up to the first part of the clinic where these kids come, and the MC introduces me, goes, "Hey guys, we have PGA Tour Pro Nick Hardy here. Why don't you introduce yourself to the kids?" And so at this point, I'm thinking, all right, do I put this guy on blast and say, I'm actually not Nick Hardy, I'm Michael Kim, or do I just go with it?
Oh, he's gone with it.
And so I'll go, you know what, I don't want to be mean to him. So I'll go, hey guys, this is Nick Hardy. And at this point, okay, I know a little bit about Nick. I know he went to Illinois. So do I go full board?
And you're like, I'm just going to roll with it.
I'm just going to roll with it. He goes, yeah, I think he got Nick Hardy because his golf bag was put to the side. Oh. I didn't have my golf bag, so I think that's why he thought I was Nick. Apparently, I look like Nick Hardy. We look nothing alike, by the way. And so I go, yeah, I'm from Illinois. Oh, that is so and yeah, this is my third year on tour. And I kept my introduction like really short.
Really short.
And he goes, okay. And I go on with the clinic. What I didn't realize was there's a second batch of kids coming. It's a rotation, and I'm stuck in that side. Oh. So second batch of kids come. You've got to lie 3 times. So second batch, and then he introduces me as Nick again. And so I just went with it. I said, hey guys, I'm Nick. And I just kept it even shorter. I was like, hey guys, I'm Nick. Really excited to be here. Let's get on with the clinic. And so I spent about 30 minutes as Nick Hardy.
So Michael, what's next for you? If I was to sit here and have a beautiful whiskey with you in 20 years' time, what would you need to be satisfied with your career? If you're not already, but like what more do you think you need to really lean back and go, you know what, I did damn well out there?
I think as far as like career goals, really at the end of this year or at the middle part of this year was when I wasn't really like a big goal setter, but like I feel like I've had my best year, and I've set aside certain goals, and maybe that's what helped me get to this point. And so I really want to play on a Ryder Cup team. I really want to win on the PGA Tour one more time, at least one more time. Like we said, like I said, I really want to win the tournament at Torrey Pines.
Yeah.
I really want to get to East Lake. Those are, 20 years later, if we're doing this again, I think a win at Torrey Pines, a Ryder Cup win. If I've at least done those 2 things, I think I can happily finish this entire bottle with you and call it a career. Yeah.
I'd like to see that. Like, you don't anything major championship wise, or is it like because you've played in all of them, you've made the cut in all of them, albeit at different chapters of your career? But is that realistic? Is that more of a just let's see how I'm feeling? That's
I would hope obviously to take those next few steps. Majors.
You can't just sit here and say, "Yeah, I want to win one of those." Like,
to me, right? Majors are part of it is I was so far away from that level of golf, of like, I can always say, yeah, of course I can say like, I want to win the Masters, and obviously you do, but like I also knew like how far away those actual. For me to actually get to that point, like it was such massive gaps there for me to where those were just kind of like, far away type goals. And, now this year I was able to play in all 4 for the first time in a year. And, felt like I played pretty well at the Masters this year and some other majors too.
You played great.
Yeah. And so, I think just for a long time, like they were just kind of off to the side, like, and if someone made me choose, like, hey, would you rather win the Open Championship or the one at Torrey Pines, like I would really have to like rack my brain, to be honest. So those tournaments are just like in the tier of like just tournaments that I obviously really want to win. But a part of me is kind of like, like if I don't win those, like it's fine. Like I really want to get to that level, and maybe next year if I feel like my game has actually gone to those levels, then for sure I want to do that. But they're maybe just a few steps and I'll be there for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll get in the mix thereabouts, because I guess golf's a funny game, right? Where if anyone's on, they're on, and they can get the job done. So.
Yeah. You never know. You'll always kind of see those interesting, sometimes not the favorites don't win all the time. So you never know. You never know.
You never know. Well, I'll be watching you very closely, and I'm sure many viewers will be as well after spending a good hour with you, mate. So thanks very much for coming on, and good luck for the future.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Beautiful. Cheers.
Cheers. I've never had whiskey this early, but pretty good.
To watch another DP World Tour video, click here, and to subscribe, click here.